this is IngX24. This is my Majora's Mask 2008% run in 2 hours, 22 minutes, 33 seconds. Um, so, for those of you who are wondering, who haven't kept up, 2008% is a category. It's kind of like just like a stupid category that I came up with. It's basically following the general outline of the 2008 any percent route for this game. It doesn't really have a very precise definition. I kind of see it as kind of like a no major skips kind of thing, and I'd actually like to see this kind of like evolve into like a no major skips run for this game. But for right now, the basic definition, and this is probably not very precise, but it's essentially basically, I'll just tell you, it's not really a definition, but I'll tell you the things you will not be seeing in this run. You will not be seeing any crazy out-of-bounds glitches like boss key skips or alt exits or anything like that. You will not be seeing, or Hidden Owl. You also won't be seeing Hidden Owl, because that is also out of bounds. You also will not be seeing any bottle duplication, because bottle duplication was not found until 2009, and it allows you to skip getting 2 extra bottles for Pirate's Fortress and Pinnacle Rock. So that's 2 things. You won't be seeing any out of bounds or bottle duplication. You also will not be seeing... God, what else is there? It's been a while since I thought about the definition. I swear I have it written down somewhere. This is embarrassing. Hang on, let me go check. I can't believe I didn't actually like... I can't believe I didn't actually like write this down like before I started. But you won't be seeing any out of bounds glitches, bottle duplication. Oh, and song storage is the 3rd thing. That's what it was. So the the general definition for the category, it's not a very precise definition, but essentially it's going to be no out of bounds, no bottle duplication, and no song storage. I consider those to be the like major skips for this game, because those are the things that since around like 2008 were like the huge route changers for this game. It really started in 2009 with the Fairy Fountain Wrong Warp, which is now called Alternate Exit, which is a terrible, terrible name, but since many of you people know it by that name, that is what I will call it, however reluctantly. Then there was boss key skips, which are also a crazy out-of-bounds thing. There's also the bottle duplication came, and from there it was pretty much the same until about 2012, like late 2012, when song storage was found, which again changed the route ridiculously. And the last thing that was found that was a huge route changer was index warp, which uses the Hidden Owl, but that also falls under no out of bounds. Now, when I say no out of bounds, I don't mean no out of bounds period. The way I described it in the paste bin was no out-of-bounds glitches that allow you to access unloaded rooms or loading zones that you're not supposed to be able to get to. That includes things like, again, the Fairy Fountain Alternate Exit, or Wrong Warp, if you want to call it that. It also includes the boss key skips. And obviously it includes the Hidden Owl. The reason I didn't go for, like, just straight up no out-of-bounds is because there are some ambiguities. There are some parts in this run where it's very easy to accidentally go out of bounds for like a split second, and I think that does happen in this run. For example, hovering into the ranch and getting to Ikana Valley early. It's very easy. You don't have to go out of bounds for those, but it's easy to accidentally go out of bounds for them. So I didn't want it to be like if you accidentally go out of bounds, the run is over. The other thing is that in order to keep with the spirit of the 2008 route, I wanted to skip the Elegy of Emptiness, and technically you don't have to go out of bounds for that either, but I didn't want to get Elegy since back in 2000, this is supposed to be the 2008 route, so I wanted to skip Elegy, so I didn't want to say no out of bounds, period. So I made it like going into unloaded rooms or accessing loading zones from out of bounds. So there's your general definition. No out of bounds stuff, no bottle duplication, and no song storage. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but those are the three things that come to mind. Oh, it is not no save and quit, by the way. I was going to make it no save and quit, but then I got so sick of doing first cycle that I decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna add the resets to it so I can cut out like a minute and a half of unnecessary, boring bullshit. If I can get paste bin loaded, I can make sure I have the definition right, but I don't know if Firefox is going to want to load paste bin, so we're going to have to wait for that. Oh, why did it type paste? I typed paste in the chat. Okay, here it is. Okay, the tricks that qualify as... Okay, bottle duplication, song of time storage... Wait, one, two, three. Okay, yeah. Those were the three. So... bottle duplication, song storage, and bottle duplication, song storage, and out of bounds stuff. Those are the three things that you will not be seeing in this run. Again, it's not a comprehensive definition because honestly this route is probably not actually the fastest for that rule set, but I wanted to have this route because it's actually pretty cool, so I'm going to go with that. So yeah, that's what 2008% basically is. It's basically following the general outline of the 2008 route, which can be roughly defined as no bottle duplication, no song storage, no out-of-bounds stuff. Or rather, no out-of-bounds stuff that lets you go into unloaded rooms or access loading zones. So yeah, that's 2008%. So, this run's going to start out very similar to a regular any percent. It's basically, the first cycle is almost exactly the same as my any percent run on SDA from 2011, except that obviously I'm going to be using the resets. The reason I'm using the resets again is, first of all, I didn't want to have like that extra minute and a half of first cycle because it's a pain in the ass. The other reason is because the only reason I would have made it no save and quit would be because save warps were banned in single segment back then. But they weren't. It wasn't that save warps were banned back then. It's just that the idea of using save warps in single segment runs or runs that were in one sitting hadn't really come up yet. So I figured, like, if the segmented run can use those resets, then I guess I can use them in this run too, since it's, you know, RTA. And plus, the reason for banning, like, out of bounds is not because I'm trying to mimic the SDA rule set. It's from 2008. It's because the out of bounds stuff is like it lets you do a lot of skips. And if I did the out of bounds stuff, this would just be very, very, very similar to an any percent. Right. And plus, out of bounds is saying no out of bounds is the best way to take care of a bunch of huge skips with one restriction. Instead of saying no fairy fountain wrong warp, no boss key skips, no index warp. Instead of saying that, you just say no going out of bounds into unloaded rooms and loading zones, and that fixes it. Anyway, so first cycle again is very very boring. So I'm gonna it's it's basically everything you've seen before. I get 2 rupees. Go to the final day, deposit the 2 rupees, get the ferry, get 99 rupees from the inn, get magic, deposit the rest of the rupees, so I have 101 in the bank, and then when I get to the next cycle, I can deposit 99 and get 200 rupees. Very basic 2000, 2008 to 2012 stuff. It's like just your typical first cycle. So I'm still gonna show it, but I'm gonna take this time to answer any question. All right. Oh my god. The fact that you thought I was reading from a script makes me happy because that means that I did it well. All right, let me scroll up. Stop lagging. Yeah, I wasn't reading the chat because if I read the chat while I'm talking, I just like get distracted. Oh, sorry about the mouse. Alright. So, I guess I'll give a little bit of an idea of what you're gonna. I've already talked about what you're not gonna see in this run. You're not gonna see bottle dupe. You're not gonna see song storage. You're not gonna see like out of bounds stuff. What you will be seeing is a lot more interesting. A lot of it is because of that rule set. But again, this is probably not actually the fastest route for this rule set. Uh, but it's the whole point of this right now was to do the 2008 route. It's not the 2008 route exactly. I am using like newer discoveries, so you will be seeing a lot of Hess in this run. Like you'll be seeing a lot more than you would see in any percent run. The reason for that is because I go get Goron Mask. I believe I do like 9 or 10 Hesses up to Goron Mask, maybe 8, but it's a lot. And from what I remember in this run, I hit every single one of them, which is surprising. Because I usually fuck that up because of the lag or something. You will be seeing a lot of Hess. You will be seeing Goron Mask. You will be seeing damage boosting. You will not be seeing me hopping over a fence with Epona. Because that would be sloppy. It's funny. 99% of people aren't going to get that reference. That's funny. Makes me happy. If you're curious, Google Epona hopping a fence on YouTube after I'm done streaming this. If you're curious to what that was all about. So, again, this is most likely not the fastest route for this rule set, but it's the route that I wanted to use because it's basically the 2008 route with some changes to incorporate new discoveries. You will be seeing a lot of Hess, as I said. You will also be seeing Song of Double Time cutscene skips, which will make the very end of the run really cool, by the way. I'm not going to spoil anything, but let's just say the end of the run is going to be something you've probably never seen before. It's not a glitch that you've never seen before, but like kind of like again, you've probably never seen anybody do the last few temples the way that I do in this run. I'm not going to spoil anything. So the general outline of this route is going to be, again, it's basically what you would see in like a 2008 run. I get the Goron Mask, and then I go back to Clocktown with Song of Time. I get explosives again, and I head to the swamp. Get Sonata, do Woodfall up to the bow. go get Goron Lullaby, which I could do Lullaby Skip, but I would have to do it at night with this route, and I don't want to do that. So I get Lullaby, then I get Zora Mask, Hookshot, and then I do Snowhead Temple. And then as you'll see, I get 2 bottles that you probably haven't seen in any run except 100%. And then I get New Wave Bossa Nova, and then it's just time to take out the last 3 temples besides Snowhead. And you'll see a lot more of those temples than you usually would because I'm not doing boss key skips. You'll also see me get to Ikana Canyon without using the fairy fountains, which is kind of interesting. So that's essentially what we're looking at here. That's the basic outline of the route. There are some... I also get Gilded Sword. I forgot about that. So Majora will be really quick. I don't know if it's actually faster to get Gilded Sword, but that's what they did in 2008, so that's what I'm doing here. So... Okay, again, 2008% doesn't mean only tricks that were known in 2008. That would be pointless. It would just be like... That would just... I mean, you might as well just go watch a run from 2008 in that case. The point of this is to kind of use the basic outline of the 2008 route, but incorporate more modern discoveries into it. And again, I'd actually like to see this kind of evolve into like a no major skips category for this game, like for SDA or something. And I know Swordless is gonna laugh at me for talking about SDA, but whatever. So, all right, so we're already quite a bit through first cycle. I wouldn't really say it's equivalent to no RBA or wrong warp, or I guess in this case no item manipulation or wrong warp. I guess you could make that argument. I would say honestly that Ocarina of Time needs a new no major skips definition. MST worked for a while, but like then stuff like boss key skips were found and a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, wrong warp, get item modification, stuff like that. All that stuff was found. I think a lot of people have been talking about getting together and coming up with like a new definition for no major skips in Ocarina of Time, and I'd actually like to see a no major skips category done for Majora's Mask too. MZX said that he'd like to have that conversation for both games at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen though. I do think that Majora's Mask does need a no major skips because the any percent for Majora's Mask is not quite as interesting as it used to be. The Majora's Mask any percent is definitely not as interesting as it used to be, and it's only going to get shorter and less interesting from here, especially if something like Moon Warp is found. So I think having a no major skips category is a good idea. Alright, there's your reset. That saves, I think, a minute and 24 seconds? No, it was 1 minute and 12 seconds. Okay. So now for another long cutscene that I've watched way too many times. I think the Song of Time cutscene. I think the Song of Time cutscene and the Song of Healing cutscene are the worst parts of First Cycle. Like, those are the parts that make me the most tired and depressed while they're happening. Yo, who the hell is deleting Valiant Link's messages? Quit it. Valiant Link's a cool guy. Don't fuck with him. What the fuck? Stop. Please. Please, don't do this. Valiant Link is a cool guy. Please don't. Please don't shit all over his hopes and dreams. I don't know if he's banned or not, but if he is. Okay. I don't know if he actually was banned or not, but... Please. Please, stop. Who is doing this? Who is deleting all of Valiant Link's messages? What is this? Whoever is doing this, please stop this madness. Is this how you get your sick kicks? By shitting all over the hopes and dreams of innocent children in my chat? Okay, I made Valiant Link a mod, so hopefully this won't happen anymore. I bet they're all in a Skype call together and they're telling whoever it is what to say. Wow, who is messaging me on Skype? Oh, okay, it's just him putting the link in the Skype group. Okay. Alright, so right about here is where the run actually starts, and most of the time when I get to this point, I start to kind of choke because I just got through watching 20-25 minutes of cutscenes, and I'm so, like, terrified of, like, just fucking up at the very beginning and having to watch all those cutscenes again that I end up fucking up. Usually it happens, like, as soon as I get out of Clocktown. I just completely choke because I'm so nervous about fucking up and having to go through First Cycle again. Thankfully, this was the one time that didn't happen. Or one of the few times that didn't happen. Alright, so hit the owl there. I'm actually going right now playing through the any percent route on an emulator and like trying to like figure out like better movement strategies because a lot of my movement is really bad. it's good enough. I will most likely do any percent, but it's going to be on the English version because Japanese version just it doesn't feel like the same game to me. I know it's hard to understand for a lot of people, but when you played on the English version of the game for like 6 years, and then you play Japanese version, it feels like a completely different game. Like when the English version is like all you knew for your entire life. And actually, I first played Majora's Mask when I was like 5 years old. So really, it's been like 15 years or something. Majora's Mask was actually my first Zelda game. Although I didn't actually finish it until like 2009. Because I got distracted by other things. But when English version of this game is like all you've ever known, when you play Japanese version, it really does feel like a completely different game. Especially when you did spent 7 months doing a speed run on English, and then you try to play Japanese. Like it doesn't feel like the same game. There's a lot of like little things. Oh, as you can see, I had some trouble getting past that ice. That was like the first real mistake of the run. So now you'll get to see some really sloppy hessing. It's probably not a good idea to hess in this area because it's like kind of like you don't go like very far distances, but whatever. I just felt like hessing here. Well, English N64 route and English Virtual Console route shouldn't be much different. Like, I don't think there's anything that would make the routes any different, unless, like, I don't know, the only thing I could think of would be, like, using different strategies in certain places to minimize lag, or whatever, but I don't know. I don't think the routes should be much different. I mean, there was that thing I was thinking of doing the, Hess up Snowhead from the owl. But I did some, I did some, like, timing, and that it turns out that the time you save from the choose in Snowhead Temple for that one hover for hookshot skip is more than the time it saves to do the Hess from the owl. Yeah, there's a lot of Hess right here. Yeah, usually you don't see much Hess. I mean, in the old any% from 2000, like 2009 to 2011, like that any%, the one that I did, there were like 5 places you could Hess. But in this run, I do 9 Hesses total. Actually, no, I do 11 Hesses actually. I forgot, like, there's a couple that I do in, when I get to Ikana, I do a couple. Oh yeah, backwalk Hess. Yeah, I do that too. When I did my old run in 2011, I wasn't very good at backwalk Hesses, so from what I remember, I didn't do them, but I'm good at them now. Oh yeah, I was gonna do the for any%. I was gonna do the Hess up Snowhead from the owl, which I got pretty consistent at. But I found that because you skip hookshot on the English version, you have to do a hover up the elevator room, and the amount of time you save by having bomb shoes for that is more. The amount of time you save by having bomb shoes is more than the time it saves to skip the bomb shop trip and do the Hess from the Owl. It's very close. I think the Hess from the Owl was like maybe like 6 seconds slower. It's very close. I know that Fairy Fountain Wrong Warp to Snowhead ended up being just the tiniest little bit faster just because you get shoes for that, and so you have more to hover up the elevator room. I'm actually kind of glad that Snowhead Hess from Owl ended up being a bit slower, because that was actually kind of like hard to do. The Hess up the slope is really stupid. So I'm actually glad that didn't work out. It would have been faster in this run, but I would have had to do it at night, and I really don't want to do that because there's enemies everywhere that'll fuck your day up. This is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, released in October 2000 to be precise. It is a sequel to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, in which Link goes into the woods and gets robbed, and then he falls into a pit and gets turned into a wood person. And then he goes to a town where everybody's like panicking because the moon hasn't heard of gravity and is falling toward the Earth. Very, very small moon that realistically couldn't do any damage, but whatever. And so the guy who robbed him has a magic mask that actually, it turns out, is actually not just a mask, it's actually an evil demon. And it's very, very complicated, and when you explain it like this, it actually sounds kind of stupid. Okay, so I got Goron Mask, and you'll be seeing a lot of Goron Mask in this run. Oh shit, it's Siglemic. Welcome. Alright, so I do another reset here. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned, I'm very, very bad at controlling this Goron. Like, abysmally bad. I would say that, like, it's a miracle I actually got the Goron roll-up Snowhead in this run. I came so close to falling off. That's actually a good idea, Pokey. I might incorporate that into my ROM hack that I'm gonna make, where all the music is replaced by like, I don't know, I can't think of anything funny to say. Every time I try, I'm bad at improv comedy. My brother's much better at it than I am. Alright, so right here you'll see something kind of odd. I actually go back to the bank and withdraw my last 50 rupees. I actually don't really need to do that, but if I don't, I have to rely on RNG from like grass and stuff, and I really didn't want to do that. So I withdrew my last 50. So now I'm heading to the swamp. This is going to be a version of Swamp that a lot of you haven't seen before. Oh, see, I'm bad at controlling the Goron. Controlling Goron rolls is the hardest trick in Majora's Mask. Did I drop any frames yet? Oh wow, I didn't. I actually didn't drop any frames. That's actually really amazing. I'm very happy about that. There we go. Again, I'm actually so bad at controlling Goron rolls that I'm going to Hess through the Woods of Mystery instead of Goron rolling through it. Oh shit, sorry. Goron rolling will, for the most part, replace Hess, but there's going to be, I think, there's going to be two more Hesses later on when I'm going to Ikana Canyon, because I need to go fast while having ISG on for hovering over fences. So you'll see some Hess there. It's probably also faster to Hess to Stone Tower, but I didn't want to risk that. Hess to the sun. And I got really bad RNG from the grass, so I have to go get more magic from this patch over here, which wasted a few seconds. And now you're going to see the Goron Big Octo skip, which I somehow got first try, which is kind of surprising. I mean, it shouldn't be, because it's actually really easy, but, I guess it's one of those tricks that's easy, but a bit inconsistent. It's, it's easy, but kind of precise. Oh, 2008% is basically like the any percent from 2008. It's basically a general outline of the 2008 any percent route, except with like some like modern tricks like Hassan, Song of Double Time, cutscene skips, and stuff like that. Oh, this is kind of embarrassing. I kind of fucked up that. The goal there was to Hess past the Deku Scrubs, since I'm bad at super sliding when it's laggy. But it didn't exactly turn out as planned. I got a bad angle on the Hess. I should have turned a little bit, but oh well. Yeah, you will be seeing me going to Ikana. I'll be going past the fences and then doing a Goron damage boost and a recoil flip to get to the main canyon area. You won't be seeing the graveyard, but you'll be seeing like that Ikana access area, I think they call it. So I'm getting the Sonata of Awakening from the monkey. That reminds me, you know that Smash, the Smash character suggestions thing. I submitted one where I said the character was Deku King from The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, and the reason I gave was someone needs to take that fucking asshole monkey Diddy Kong and dip him into a boiling hot cauldron, which is what the Deku King tries to do to that monkey in this game. You kind of had to be there. Well, that stream delay is powerful. This run has officially become phone percent. Alright, so... Alright, so now you see I actually go up Woodfall legit. God, I wish I could, like, hear the game audio. But I can't because I would have to put my earbuds in, and when I put my earbuds in, they're like noise canceling, like, or like partially noise canceling, and so like I can barely hear myself, so I would end up talking like way too loud. So here I'm gonna be going into Woodfall Temple, but I'm only going there for the bow, and then I leave. And the reason for that is because the rest of Woodfall Temple is a lot faster if you have the hook shot and fire arrows. So it's best to like leave and come back later, or so they say. Like I said, I didn't actually like time anything for this run. I just kind of like went by the strategies that were used in 2008, like the root strategies that they used in 2008. It might not be faster to like get Gilded Sword or do Woodfall in 2 trips, but or get 3 bottles. But that's what I did because 2008%. It wouldn't be 2008% if I didn't do those things. All right, now check this out. I completely fucked up that mega flip. So I was not too happy about that one. That's very rare. I was actually almost gonna reset after that happened, but then I was like, you know what, this is a meme category, who cares? I've actually been having trouble with mega flips. I think I actually figured out what the problem was, like shortly before I did this run. Uh, I believe what happened was that I stopped using, like, I used to use a rhythm for it, which I also used a rhythm for Hess. And I think I kind of, like, when I came back to this game in 2012, I, like, forgot about the rhythm. I just tried to, like, eyeball it. And ever since then, I, I've been, like, having trouble with Hess and Mega Flip. Mega Flip much more so. Hess, I like would get like damage ESSs or slow ESSs every once in a while. Mega Flip though, I would have like a really serious problem where half the time, or more than half the time, I would roll instead of back flipping for the Mega Flip. But I remembered like just the other day that I used to use a rhythm for it instead of just eyeballing it. So I tried using the rhythm and I instantly got nearly 100% consistent at both Hess and Mega Flips. They both use the same rhythm. But obviously, when I say nearly 100% consistent, I obviously don't mean exactly 100%, as you just saw. I kind of messed up the rhythm, I think, in Woodfall Temple in that run, in this run. So, alright, so now, I could do Lullaby Skip, but using this route, I would have to do it at night, which I really don't want to do, because there's enemies there at night, like the white bows, and they will, like, fuck your day up and knock you off. So I get the Goron Lullaby. The other reason why I got the Goron Lullaby is because back in 2008, people didn't do Lullaby Skip on console. It was like a considered TAS only. How many Mega Flips are in this run? I don't think I counted. It's not that many. Surprisingly, there isn't all. Yeah. Oh, there's another mistake. I cannot control this Goron. I'm very, very bad at controlling this Goron. Yeah, surprisingly, there isn't all that much hovering in this run. You would think there would be, but there really isn't. Like, without boss key skips, the amount of hovering is somewhat limited. It's not as much as you would think. I think the biggest hover is Stone Tower, which I could have done Mega Flips for, but I didn't want to do it under the lag because I had just started getting better at Mega Flips again. Oh, and I fucked that recoil flip up. Happens more often than you would think. The trick here is you recoil flip into the ice and get frozen, and then you fall into the grotto. But it doesn't always work out the way you expect it to, because the angle is a bit more precise than you would think. Alright, so, long cutscenes. Yo, fun fact, in game time, it's actually faster to get the Goron Lullaby, I'm pretty sure. Because the majority of the time that you waste by getting Goron Lullaby is from cutscenes. Like, these cutscenes are, like, really long. Especially the Lullaby one. And so, like, if you're doing game time, which is actually a really interesting category these days. It used to kind of suck, but it's actually kind of interesting now because like first cycle is interesting. But in game time, from what I remember, it's actually faster to get the Goron Lullaby in game time because Lullaby Skip. Because most of the time you lose from Goron Lullaby is from the cutscenes, and rolling up Snowhead is really fast, like without the wind. How's the frame rate and stuff? Okay, good. see how many people are in my chat. Alright, cool. More than I thought. Actually, it's not that much, but whatever. It's good enough. The people who missed the stream can always get just to watch the recording. Yeah, during this cuts, I'll be right. Oh, yes, I was born a dank meme lord. One sec. Wait, it didn't mute. What the fuck? It didn't mute? What the fuck? Why didn't it mute? I pushed the mute button. What the fuck is... Damn it. No, it's actually, it's not Coke, it's nasal spray. One sec. Okay. Oh, okay. So, as you see, I'm doing a Goron damage boost over the fence instead of the usual hover, because I believe the Goron mask is damage boost is faster. Alright, here we go. So, I'm pushing this Zora in a very specific way. I don't know if the direction actually matters, but what I want to do is I want to get the Song of Double Time cutscene skip for this, which saves like 30 seconds. Because I don't want to watch him walking for, like, I think he walks for like 30-something seconds. It's longer, it's actually longer than King Zora from Ocarina of Time. So, that's what's going on there. I did the song. I actually think that the Zora... See, okay, so I guess I should explain that. The way the Zora Song of Double Time cutscene skip works is that when you push him onto shore, I'm not sure what causes it, but I don't know if it's the direction or if it's on the direction you're pushing or if it's on a timer or something, but when you push the Zora to shore, sometimes the cutscene where he gets up and starts walking doesn't start right away. Again, I don't know what causes it. I don't know if it's like on like a timer, or if it's like the direction you're pushing when you get to shore, or what. But sometimes he won't get up right away, and so if you walk around and like play Song of Double Time like before he gets up, the cutscene will start while the fade out is happening, and you'll skip that long cutscene of him walking. Again, I don't know what exactly causes it, but I do know that if you do it the exact same way every time, it will work. What you have to do exactly to get it to work depends on like how you enter. Like if you're coming from the owl, there's a certain way you have to do it. If you're coming from like the Great Bay entrance as a Goron, there's a certain way you have to do it. I'm not sure. I suspect it's probably on a timer. I could be wrong about that, but I suspect it's probably like a frame counter. It's probably on a timer. Hello, King Nuptup. Are you ready for this Sunday night? So now I'm heading to Pirate's Fortress. The WWE Super Slam, where John Cena defends his title. Oh my god. When you guys were like spamming that in the meme-a-thon, I was so confused. I didn't understand it at all. But then you linked me to that video, and now it all makes sense. That was like one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. The John Cena prank call. That was just like amazing. I haven't laughed that hard in so long. Like I literally could not breathe. Keep in mind, it takes a lot even to get me to just physically laugh. Like my laugh reflex is kind of weak. So it takes a lot. So that prank call video is what started this whole John Cena meme thing? Or did it start before that? And the video is just an example? So we'll see, I can't, this is not Japanese, so I can't do the thing where the pirates are blind. So I have to climb the ladder. Okay, so the meme is the okay, so the prank call video is where the meme came from. It's such an amazing video. Like I said, my laugh reflex is pretty weak. Like it takes, like, even if I find something really funny or amusing, a lot of the time, like, I don't like actually like physically laugh because my laugh reflex is like
really weak or something. So when something makes me laugh to the point where I can't breathe, that's a sign that it's like divinely funny. 'Cause it takes a lot to get to trigger my laugh reflex. Like sometimes I'll be like watching something. I think it's like really funny, but somehow like I won't be like physically laughing. It's weird. Like my my laugh reflex or whatever the scientific term for it is must be like weak or something. It's probably different for every person. All right, so Snowhead, I will be playing the Goron Lullaby because I have it. I'm gonna make this fat fuck fall in the ravine. Yeah, this run does a whole bunch of Hess before Goron Mask, and you missed all of it. It's like 8 consecutive Hesses, like one right after the other, and I nailed all 8 of them. You missed it. Alright, so when I was doing this, like, I have a really, really hard time controlling the Goron. You may not have noticed, but I was so close to falling off that ramp. Um, See what happens when you're rolling up the ramp. There's a part where you start to like skid. I don't know if there's a way to prevent it, but like when you start skidding there and you have to kind of like turn a bit more than you would think in order to like escape the skid. And I guess I didn't turn enough, so I started like skidding all over the place, and I was like speeding out of control like the whole way up the ramp, like right to the very top. So I had to like keep like constantly like turning my control stick so that I wouldn't like fall off. I was this close to falling off so many times. Somehow I didn't. Okay. So I'm bad at pause buffering on Nintendo 64, so I don't want to do the weird shot, and so I do this instead. The old school strategy. Strategy formerly known as Scarecrow Skip. Alright, so Wizrobe can be done a bit faster with the Goron Mask because the Goron Punch does, I think, 4 damage. The normal arrow or hook shot does 2 damage. And then for the cutscene skip, see, normally the cutscene skip is kind of hard because you have such a small window, but the cool thing about the Goron Pound is that it does constant damage for like a whole second after you hit the ground. And so you can do it, and you have like such a huge window to do the Wizrobe cutscene skip. It's like almost impossible to fail it. It's amazing. I got a little bit hung up on. See, I have most of the pauses, like the equips, memorized for this route, but sometimes like I kind of like zone out, like I kind of like just my mind just blanks, and so like you'll see a couple times, like especially like near the end, I kind of like sit there on the pause screen for like 5 seconds, like not knowing what to do. It doesn't happen all that often, but a couple times. And it probably wouldn't happen if I had like practiced this more. Uh, Also, if I had practiced it more, I probably wouldn't have had like a lot of the stupid mistakes you'll see. But this isn't really meant as like a serious run. This is just like kind of to show off this route and hopefully like build interest for like a no major skips category for this game. So I didn't like take it all that seriously. Alright, so in this room, for some reason, when the Wizrobe is coming up out of the platform, it lags in this room. It doesn't do that in the other room. It's only in this one. I'm not quite sure why, but you'll see there's like a bunch of lag. A lot of the places that has lag... Oh, this area right here, the boss key room. There are two camera angles you can get when the chest opening cutscene happens. If it faces the door, like the door of the main room, it lags like down to like half speed or something, as long as the main room is on camera. There's something similar in the Goron Shrine. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was getting the Goron Lullaby, or like playing the ocarina, I turned around so that the camera was facing the baby Goron. The reason for that is because in the Goron Shrine, for some reason, if you pull out the ocarina in Goron Shrine in the baby room, and the camera is facing like the tunnel out of the room, like the tunnel to the main area of Goron Shrine, if the camera's facing that, the frame rate like tanks. It like goes down to like it lag. I think that's like some of the worst lag in the entire game. So when I like learning the Goron Lullaby, I always like turn around so that my back is to the Goron baby, because if I was facing the other way, the camera would be facing that tunnel, and for some reason that causes the frame rate to just like drop to like abysmal speeds. It's like so slow, it's ridiculous. Some of the worst lag I've ever seen. So, I was talking about the lag stuff, so I missed something. I played the, Inverted Song of Time, because, see, I'll explain that when the giant cutscene is happening. So, I kind of almost messed up Goat here, as I was a little bit too far to the right, and so he started shooting the electricity at me. And then the stalagmite got in the way, and so he got a little bit too far when I shot the last hit. And so, instead of having the heart container and the warp spawn like right where I am, I had to Goron roll to them, which wasted a few seconds. So... and you can see I was like a little bit disoriented there. So anyway, what I was saying about the lag, yeah, I was saying about the lag, like when you're in the Goron baby room, if you pull out the ocarina and the camera's facing the tunnel like out of the room, the frame rate like tanks for some reason. So I have to like turn the other way. I don't know if it's the same on Virtual Console or not. Anyway, what I was saying, Inverted Song of Time. So, I have it set up so that usually I'll be playing Inverted Song of Time somewhere around, like, the time I get the Snowhead boss key. I actually have it so that, like, I always play Inverted Song of Time at 1 o'clock while I'm in Snowhead Temple. The reason I need Inverted Song of Time is because I need to get to the ranch later, and the aliens, like, break into the barn at 3:45, and there isn't enough time to there isn't enough time after it turns night of the first day to get the hook shot, go to Mountain Village, do Snowhead Temple, and then do Goron Race, and then then go back to Clocktown and make it to the ranch on time. There just isn't enough time. It doesn't even come close. So you need to play Inverted Song of Time at some point. And I messed around with it a little bit, and I found that the best time to play Inverted Song of Time was at around 1 o'clock. Even with Lullaby Skip and without the Zora walking cutscene skip, there still isn't enough time. The old tasks from 2007 that did the same route, that was before the Zora walking cutscene skip, and he did Lullaby Skip in that task. He still had to play Inverted Song of Time right before Goron Race. So yeah, time is really tight in this run up to the ranch. Who's this champ here? Who is champ? That question will be answered this Sunday night at the WWE Super Slam. Seriously, everybody who's watching this, after this is over, go on YouTube and look up John Cena prank call. You will not regret it. It is amazing. What was the other thing that I said to go look up? Okay. So, Goron Race is kind of a cancer. Alright, so, well, first of all, I have to hover into the Goron Race track, which isn't that big a deal. But, the Goron Race is literal cancer. It's, like, the worst thing ever. Like, you do not even understand until you have tried it how awful. So, Goron Race, see, it doesn't look all that bad if you're just watching it. Like, you'll see this done, like, really quickly, and it'll look so easy. But there is so much luck involved in this, it's ridiculous. And it's not just because the Gorons, like, have AI. It's not even just that the AI has RNG. If it was just that, it wouldn't be a problem. The problem is that the Gorons have some of the most ridiculous rubber band AI of any racing thing that I've ever seen. I mean, I haven't played that many racing games, but this is really bad. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term rubber band AI, this is essentially what it is. You ever notice when you're playing a racing game, a lot of the time it's pretty easy to get past. It's pretty easy to get past the other racers, but then, like, when you're, like, right near the end, when you're, like, really far ahead, somehow they'll just, like, magically catch up to you. That's rubber band AI. It's where they go really slow when you're like, behind them, but then when you catch up, when you're, like, really far ahead, they'll just almost, like, teleport behind you. Or they'll start, like, suddenly, like, or sometimes they'll, like, teleport, sometimes they'll just, like, start getting really good. But either way, the idea is, like, the faster you're going, the better you're doing, the more chance there is that they're going to suddenly catch up to you and kick your ass. And it's really bad in this. Because it's actually almost to your advantage to not get too far ahead. Because if you get too far, if you're doing too well, right at the very end, there's gonna be like 3 or 4 of them are just gonna like swoosh right past you, right as you're about to get to the finish line, and you'll lose. They'll also try to bump into you, and if they bump into you at a certain angle, yeah, if you stay behind, you can catch up easily at the end. But if you get too far ahead at the end, they'll like swoosh right past you at the last minute. It's horrible. So you kind of have to like pace yourself almost. But yeah, they'll also try to like bump into you, and if they bump into you at a certain angle, if you're on on like a slope or something, you'll lose your spike roll, and that is not good. So yeah, the whole thing is just a bunch of bullshit. So I undid Song of Double Time as soon as I got to Clocktown, and I made it to the ranch. The aliens show up at 2:30, and they break into the barn at 3:45. So essentially, you want to get there between 2:30 and 3:45 so that you don't have to watch the cutscene of them showing up. Ideally, though, you'd want to get there close to like 3. You'd like to get there close to like 3 or 3:15. That way, you don't have to wait, because it is on a timer. It's not just you kill a bunch of the aliens and then you're done. You actually have to fight them off until 5:15. So it's actually to your advantage to like use as much time as you can. Like you kind of want to get here at the last minute so that you don't have to spend a lot of time waiting. And that's why it's kind of tricky to time the inverted Song of Time, because you want to time it in such a way that you'll kind of get here at like the last minute almost, but not too late, because if you're too late then you'll lose and then you won't get the bottle. So you kind of got to time it so that you get here like just. You have to time the inverted Song of Time stuff so that you get here like just in time to prevent them from getting to the barn. Like you want to get here at like basically like the last minute, almost. So you're supposed to fight these guys with Epona. That's what the game tells you to do. But it turns out that this crate right here is perfectly positioned so that you can see all 10 of the aliens and you can snipe all of them from right there. Essentially, the way this strategy works is you stand on the crate, and that tree right there, that alien on the left is coming from behind the house. There's that tree right there. Basically, when you're on the crate, when you see that alien go past the tree, you want to just go and like shoot all the aliens. You do that twice, and then you can just chill until the sun kills them. Because as long as you time it right like that, they'll be far enough away by that time that you can just like wait it out until the sun comes up. So what that gets you is the milk bottle. So now I have 3 bottles. So I don't have to make a bunch of trips to Pirate's Fortress and Pinnacle Rock. I don't know if 3 bottles is actually faster. It's likely that 2 bottles is faster at least. I don't know if 3 is, but they always did. They did 3 bottles back in 2008. So that's what I'm doing here. So now that I have the gold dust, I can go and get the gilded sword, which takes a while, and I'm actually not sure if getting the gilded sword is faster, as I said before, but that's what they did in 2008, so I'm going with it. And the gilded sword is pretty cool. And again, turn around for the song a double time so that the camera isn't facing the house when I pull out the ocarina, because if it's facing the house, the game lags a bit for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it's nowhere near as bad as like Goron's Shrine, but it's still pretty bad. So this is kind of just like talking to them and then playing the song a double time a whole bunch of times. I think you play it like 3 times. And so after I get the Gilded Sword, it's going to be dawn of the final day. Which means that my time from here is somewhat limited. But don't worry, it all works out in the end. Although you might get some surprises with that. Not going to spoil anything, but the end is going to be pretty cool. So now that that's all over with, I could go. Now it's time to just go and get the eggs, which is pretty boring. Yeah, the only other way you could get rid of the gold dust is if you sold it to the curiosity shop right after Goron Race. You would have to do it before going to the ranch. Because if you went to the ranch, then it would be daytime again, and you wouldn't be able to get into the curiosity shop. Alright, so I deposit that 1 egg, because that's all I have. And now I go off to Pirate's Fortress. Well, the thing is, selling the gold dust doesn't take that long. Getting the Gilded Sword takes like, I want to say like 2 minutes, or 1.5 minutes, or something like that. I mean, the Gilded Sword does save. The Razor Sword definitely saves a lot more time than the Gilded Sword does, because the Razor Sword is like double damage. Gilded Sword is only triple damage. It's not so like it's like 1.5 times the strength of the Razor Sword, whereas Razor Sword is twice the strength of Kokiri's Sword. So Razor Sword has a much bigger like time gain in proportion to how long it takes to get it. Gilded Sword, I actually have my doubts about Gilded Sword being faster. Razor Sword, I would think, would be faster, except that you have to get Adult Wallet. So I don't know. So this Pirate's Fortress is basically just going to be like more of the same. It's really not that interesting. Pirate's Fortress, I think, is like the worst. The egg collecting in general is like the most boring part of the run, other than first cycle. Thankfully, in the new any% on English, the egg collecting is a lot more interesting, because you do a bunch of like song storage things to like duplicate eggs, so that you don't ever have to go to Pirate's Fortress. Yeah, playing Song of Time empties all of your bottles except for duplicated bottles. Nah, this is just solo commentary. Alright, so this pirate dies in 2 hits because Gilded Sword is overpowered. So, because that bottle had milk in it, I have to drink the milk before I can get the egg. And I did a ocarina items here so that I don't have to like just climb up and all that stuff. Pull out the ocarinas, and equip it. All that shit. I feel like I do ocarina items really slow, but I haven't really messed with it that much. So now I have to deposit 3 eggs, so you gotta sit through that. I didn't used to think egg collecting was that boring. It used to be kind of like a breather after bottle duplication in like the old any percent back in like 2010, 2011 when I used to run it. But now for some reason like egg collecting is just like really boring to me. Alright, so Pinnacle Rock. Go through the 2 phallic symbols into the place. Pinnacle Rock. Where there's also another bunch of phallic symbols arranged in a circle. Stone Tower also has lots of phallic symbols. Definitely needs Gjord Warp. And actually, Gjord Warp would get rid of the turtle cutscene skip too. And actually, Bottle Adventure, from what I remember, comes very, very close to activating the turtle. At least on English it does. Or was it on Japanese? I can't remember which version. But I know it does come very, very close to activating the turtle. But it doesn't quite get there. I think it's like a few bites off. What Bottle Adventure can do on the English version is it can make eggs appear in the aquarium, but they're fake eggs. Like they don't count as like actually being deposited. They're just like graphics. So I did an upgrade items to get out of there, which is good because that part's boring as fuck. And now I have to deposit more eggs, which means waiting for them to fall into the water. This is such a bad part of the game. Why did they think this was a good idea? Why did they think putting this shit in the game was a good idea? Literally worse than Tears of Light in Twilight Princess. Tears of Light in Twilight Princess can at least be fun if you're speedrunning, because you can like time yourself and like go really fast, treat it like an obstacle course or something. But eggs are just fucking stupid. Majora's Mask is definitely not as fast paced as Twilight Princess in terms of like the movement. Oh god. Climbing Stone Tower with the Elegy of Emptiness. Awful. Elegy of Emptiness, oh my god. Having to play that song every time. They couldn't they have made it like why did they have to make it so that you have to like step on the switch, play the song, sit through the cutscene of the song being played out on the screen, and sit through the cutscene of the statue appearing every single fucking time? God, I'm suddenly not having much good to say about this game. Because that's what happens when you like play one game too much. I think that happened with Gianna with Twilight Princess. He played Twilight Princess too much, and suddenly like everything seemed like a pain in the ass. Yeah, it would probably be like a fake turtle. Like the turtle's up, but when you hookshot onto its back, there's no cutscene trigger for going to Great Bay Temple. That would be really fucking disappointing. Yeah, I know a lot of the games that I... wait. I'll talk about this later. This is cool. This is my strategy for getting turtle cutscenes skip 100% consistent. It's gonna be a bit painful to look at, but here's how it works. So, when you throw the bomb, it lags the game, and it gives you more time to press start. And so you can just mash start, and you'll always get the pause. I think it wastes about 4 seconds from the lag. Alright, so now, here we go. So, at this point you might have noticed a small problem. Right now it is night of the final day, and I still have 3 temples left to do. Not only that I have Woodfall left to do, Great Bay, and not only do I have to do Stone Tower Temple, but I have to go all the way to Ikana Canyon, and I have to climb up Stone Tower and do the entire temple without a boss key skip. That's not looking too likely. You might notice that, like, it doesn't seem like I have enough time to do all that. You might be suggesting, oh, just play Inverted Song of Time, but I'm not going to do that. Not right now, anyway. you might see you might see where I'm going with this. Don't spoil anything. So, anyway, so I came to Clocktown because I needed explosives because I was out of them. And while I'm at Clocktown, I might as well head to Ikana and do Stone Tower Temple. I could have just done Great Bay Temple right there, but I wouldn't have had enough explosives to do it. So I had to come to Clocktown for a bomb shop trip, so it was convenient to just head to Stone Tower Temple. Which is cool because Stone Tower Temple is harder than Great Bay. And I do the rest of the temples in like reverse order of difficulty. I do Stone Tower Temple first, Great Bay Temple, and then Woodfall, which is the easiest. Alright. So, this is pretty cool. I do Hesses here. So, the other fence, I have a different way of getting past it, other than hovering. It turns out you can just clip through this one with a Hess. So, now what I do here is, these bubbles are going to get in the way of me doing a Goron damage boost. I could kill them off, but then they just respawn. So I just hookshot them and, like, take them out of their, like, little thing so that they're just, like, jumping around like a bunch of idiots and they can't do anything about it. You might think it would be better to do this during the day, but you would be very, very wrong about that, because there's a different kind of enemy here during the day that's a lot worse than the blue bubbles, and there's a lot more of them. The real bomb shoes. They are not fun to deal with. So, I did a Goron bomb boost onto this ledge here, and I'm, like, very carefully making my way over. And I'm going to do a recoil flip down there from here. I think I can't tell. I think I went out of bounds during the recoil flip for like a second. Yeah, I went out of bounds for like a little bit, but you don't actually have to go out of bounds to get that trick. You can do it without going out of bounds. It's just like, it's very easy to just like accidentally go out of bounds, depending on the angle you got. So now, those Octoroks are there. You're supposed to freeze them and use them with ice arrows and use them as platforms to get to that tree, but the tree was placed conveniently within range of that one spot on the ground. It's kind of precise, but yeah. So now, I kind of accidentally pulled out the hook shot there for a second. So, I imagine it's probably faster to Hess the Stone Tower than to Goron roll, but I didn't want to risk it because the blue bubbles can kind of get in your way, and you kind of need to not be jinxed because you need ISG. So, what you're going to see here is just like a regular Stone Tower climb. It's faster to do mega flips up here, so you can skip doing the bomb shop trip, but anyone who's seen my 2011 any% run knows that mega flips up Stone Tower are kind of a problem because of the lag. And when it's like, how long into the run is this? Like an hour and a half in, when it's that far into the run, and it's lagging, and the moon shakes, so that can fuck you up, it's really not that wise to do that for how little time it saves. I think it saves like 45 seconds, the mega flip, and plus, like I said, I've been kind of rusty at mega flips, so I didn't want to risk it here. Especially in a run that's like this is a meme run. So I didn't take it too seriously. So I wasted a bomb shoe on that first gap because I wasn't paying much attention, so I had to use a bomb for for the first hover on that gap. Alright, so you might notice that the time is kind of like running out, like very quickly. Believe it or not, there is enough time to do all 3 remaining temples before the moon crashes. Just barely, but there is enough time. I got a little disoriented there on the pause screen. Oh god, no, I don't want to fucking do, no, fuck TwitchCon. Fix your fucking website before you host conventions, you stupid God, I'm gonna get banned for shit talking TwitchCon, aren't I? Okay. Yo, what up, Crispy22? So again, as you might have seen, time is running out pretty quickly, and I should probably play Song of Inverted Song of Time at some point, which I will soon. I'm gonna do it as soon as I cross this gap. So I do the time stop to cross the gap, and then as soon as I'm on the other side of the gap, now I finally play Inverted Song of Time. I honestly could have played Inverted Song of Time like a lot earlier, but it's a lot cooler to like put it off as long as possible to make the ending as clutch as possible. So now I accidentally put on Zora Mask like a fucking idiot. But yeah, like I think I believe you can play Inverted Song of Time as soon as you do turtle cutscene skip, and you can still like have the clock not have to hover into the clock tower. But it's much cooler to put off Inverted Song of Time as long as possible to make the end like as clutch as you possibly can. It's a lot cooler that way, so that's what I did. All 3 of the remaining temples will be done after midnight of the final day. It's pretty awesome. Alright, so I have a little mishap right here. Only a couple, like a second or so. Accidentally went under the bridge. Okay. So again, I'm bad at pause buffering weird shots on Nintendo 64. So I just do the hover here. And same with this room, the updraft room. I'm bad at pause buffering, so, and I don't want to do unbuffered weird shots because on English they can crash. So I just do the normal updraft room. Thankfully I have Deku Mask for that, so I don't have to do the recoil flips. I am a wood person. I'm a scrub. Alright, so Oh no, that's not where he hits me. That's where he hits me. And now I'm like really low on health. As you'll see, the camera gets really fucked up in this game when you're low on health. It like zooms in, but it also makes like the directions like messed up for some reason. I don't know. But you'll see that. So right here for the tower invert, pause buffering is a lot easier in in the stone tower area outside the temple than it is inside the temple. So I do a weird shot here, and plus, like if I wanted to say like no out of bounds, I would kind of have to do a weird shot because well, weird shot technically doesn't actually go out of bounds. It just like puts the camera at a weird angle. So. So, you something I should probably explain about Stone Tower that's weird after midnight of the final day. The music that play, see, as you know, after midnight of the final day, the final hours music is set to play like in every area. It's specifically set not to play in temples. The way it works, I believe, is like if you enter for a temple, it's set to like just use the temple's music. Problem is that Stone Tower Temple. Oh, I get the hearts there. Stone Tower Temple doesn't actually have its own music track. It just uses like the one from Stone Tower when you enter it. I believe it's probably set to just like use the music track from the last area that you were in, which is pretty much always going to be Stone Tower. So Stone Tower Temple doesn't actually have its own music track. So what happens is that in most cases what happens is like if it's after midnight of the final day, it basically, this is my like own educated guess. What probably when you enter an area, it says, if it's after midnight of the final day, play final hours music unless it's a temple, in which case just use the temple's music. And that works fine with Woodfall, Snowhead, and Great Bay Temple, but like I said, Stone Tower Temple doesn't actually have its own music track, and so what happens is that if it's midnight of the final day, and you enter Stone Tower Temple, or Inverted Stone Tower Temple, they're both the same, if you enter those, it doesn't access any music track, because they don't have their own music tracks, and so it just doesn't play any music. That only happens if it's midnight of the final day when you enter, though. Because what causes it to play no music at all is that transition. Like the screen transition. If you're inside the temple already when it turns midnight of the final day, the music will just keep going. But if you enter the temple after midnight of the final day, it'll try to load that Stone Tower Temple music track, but there isn't one. Because it just uses the one from Stone Tower. So, the result is that Stone Tower Temple, and of course Inverted Stone Tower Temple, since they both behave the same, they have a music glitch, where if it's after midnight of the final day, when you enter, it doesn't play any music. It's just silent. I hope I explained that well enough. of the few cases in which my computer programming knowledge hasn't been completely blocked out from the trauma of going through 3 semesters as a computer science major. No, you don't have to beat the whole game 20 times. It's just that it's 2008% is a nickname. It's basically just like play through the 2008 any percent route, or the basic outline of it. So I kind of messed up there, so I have to kind of wait for that spike thing to get back. So as you can see, like I had to get the boss key. A lot of people are probably familiar with like the general inverted stone tower temple route I did, because that's what you do in like the current Japanese any percent. You just like you go through like the east wings of the west wing. So nothing really surprising there. The only thing is that I like took a detour to fight Gomez for the boss key. But other than that, the route I took through inverted stone tower temple was basically the same as like the current Japanese any percent. Alright, so Twin Mold with Giant's Mask is a little bit less of a pain in the ass than Twin Mold with arrows, but it's still a pain in the ass. And I actually fuck it up here. You only have a limited time with the Giant's Mask because it runs on magic. And Twin Mold RNG is really stupid. And I tried to get the magic jars and they disappeared right before I got them. Thankfully I got most of the hits in with Giant's Mask. I only had to shoot one arrow. So, I got a weird glitch here. It's happened before. You see how Link is moving like really slow? Like as if he still has the Giant's Mask on or something? I don't know what causes that. I've had it happen a couple times. It might be caused by being in the middle of a roll while the Giant's Mask is deactivating, like when you run out of magic. That might be what causes it. I'm not sure though. No, it's definitely not lag. That area doesn't have lag after Twin Mold is dead. I mean, it might, but not that much. Oh shit. after this cutscene, I'm at about the 2 hour mark, and I use a DVD recorder, so I have to switch DVDs. So that's what the long pause is all about. Give me 1 second. So, so yeah, I pause here, and it looks like I just paused for like 30 seconds, and there's like the music skips. That's because I had to change DVDs. I would use a capture card, but I find that DVD recorders are more reliable. It's kind of a pain in the ass to have to pause and switch DVDs, but oh well. Alright, so now I just take out these last 2 temples. You'll find that Great Bay Temple is pretty interesting. You'll probably see parts of the temple that you probably haven't seen in years. And what's cool is if it's after midnight of the final day, the final hour's music plays during this cutscene, even though it's usually silent. It's pretty cool. What's this? I'm going left at the beginning here? What is this? Alright, so first thing you're going to see is, see, I usually do a recoil flip here, but I was really disoriented at this point, so I tried to do a long jump, and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. Yeah. See, it's the long jump is like really precise. You have to be like on a very specific spot, like right on the edge of the spout in order to actually get a long jump. So I just usually use a recoil flip, but I wasn't thinking very straight at this point. So, this is a part of Great Bay Temple, like this stuff from Great Bay Temple. I don't think any other category does any of this. I know 100% does the turnkey skip, which I can't do in this run because I can't hover out of bounds into unloaded rooms. So